You're watching Tech Talk in affiliation with Tech for Techs. We're a community that supports independent trade with the help of vendors and distributors. We're live every Thursday at 8 p.m. London time, and we'll be streaming to Facebook and YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. You can listen to our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon, Google, TuneIn, and many more. And now, the moment you've been waiting for, and your host, Philip Griffiths.
Hello everyone, and welcome to Tech for Tech Tech Talk, where we help your IT business grow. We've got an interesting show on tonight. We have got Deepcool and Target components in the house. We've got Roni and Cory. They'll introduce themselves in a few seconds. But first of all, if you can hear us, please make sure you obviously comment in chat. Otherwise, we don't know if we're just sitting here talking to ourselves, which is probably going to be in a decent conversation anyway if it was. But it'd be nice if you guys would actually join in as well. Also, if you've got any questions for Deepcool or even Target, please make sure you ask. We will be having a presentation going on at some point. The chat will disappear at that time, but you can still comment. And when obviously the show comes back on, or we go to the question and answer side of things, then we'll go through all the questions what have been asked. But feel free to interact with us and let us know where you are viewing from as well. So we'll give you a shout out. So let me go over first to Roni. So Roni, would you like to introduce yourself and let everyone know who you are?
Thanks, and again, a big thank you for having me here. Super excited to do this. Nervous, but also excited. About 50% nervous, and then like 300% excited. So let's say 350% covered there. But yeah, I look after Deepcool. I'm basically UK country manager for Deepcool. I'll go more about what I do and who's around me as well as part of Deepcool. But we're launching a brand together with Target Components. So I'm here to kind of spread the word on that, but also just to talk tech with you guys as well, and just have a little bit of a chat with everyone in the chat and with you guys as well.
Right, that sounds pretty cool. Let's quickly go through the chat. So let's have a look. So Camo Tech says good vibes. Yeah, always good vibes here, mate. And we've got someone called Ronil. I'm guessing that's you, Ronnie. Are you commenting and talking to yourself, or is someone copying your name?
Whoever's starting the hype train, that was not me.
Right, no problem then. So Peter's saying evening. Cormac, or the King of Ireland, says we can hear you. We've got evening, looking and sounding great from Alison. Thank you very much, Alison. And we've got Travis saying hello, fellas. And it's Travis Peacock from the US. Welcome, US viewers. And looking good, Ronnie, says Shaban. So it looks like you've got a few followers and likers here already, Ronnie.
Thanks, Chabs. Nice to see you here as well.
Right, let's go over to Cory then. So, Cory, if you'd like to introduce yourself as well as introduce who you've got in the studio with you at the moment.
Yeah, apologies for the noise. As you could tell, I do have a guest in the studio. My dog's making herself at home. My name's Cory. I'm the product marketing manager for Target Components, but most of you will probably know me from the in-store PC builder, custom builder, the builds, all sort of tech sort of stuff, queries, that sort of thing. So I'm always around somewhere.
He's the technical tech guy at Target. Is that probably the good way of putting it?
Let's not set me up for a fall just yet.
Yeah. I've asked him many questions on either networking or tech, so he is my go-to tech guy as well.
Oh, that's pretty good then. Right, so before we go on to the presentation, have any of you guys bought yourselves any 12 gen equipment or anything like that? So the new Intel, obviously, processors, 12900Ks, or obviously if anyone's managed to get hold of any DDR5 memory, that goes for anyone in the chat as well. Has anyone been able to get any equipment in, any orders for any of your customers or anything like that? Feel free, obviously, to comment. What about yourself, Ronnie? Have you been playing with any yet or
I
ordered
have,
some?
I literally have had. I saw the embargo, like, obviously releasing all the YouTube reviews, start churning out. So I watched a couple, and I'm super hyped. It's looking super interesting, and yeah, I'm actually thinking of rebuilding a PC, but like a mini ITX system. I think I'm over. It's strange to say, but I think I'm done with like ARGB and RGB and RGB puke everywhere. So I just want like a nice little sleek mini ITX system that I can take around with me. Because I do like going to like LAN parties and stuff like that. And more than likely, it will be in 12th gen. So as long as there's decent stock for CPUs and decent stock of motherboards and RAM, I'll probably go for it because the performance right now looks amazing.
Yeah, I must admit I do like the looks of some of the stats out there, and in some cases it's as good as a Threadripper. Some of the like the 12900. So that's making me question.
Well, I've got a
So
Threadripper right now in my main system, but it's first
yeah,
gen. So even though it's
yeah.
not an all CPU, I still want to upgrade.
Yeah, I'm going to say I'm running a 3960, so it's 24 cores, 48 threads, and looking at some of the performance things of the Intel, and it's okay. I think the Threadripper wins with the cores, but on single thread applications or anything like if you wanted to play games or anything like that, it's far superior. But there we go. And we've also got someone from Target saying hi. So that's Sonia. If you don't know who Sonia is, she's probably the best singer at Target, I think, how I've been told, or so I've heard. She's going to kill me next time she sees me. She really is. And Travis says he's currently waiting for the current lineup to arrive. The charity builds we do are hungry for everything. So that sounds pretty good. What's your experience with the new 12th gen then, Cory?
To be fair, we're in the same sort of boat as most people with this one. We are waiting for brackets to arrive. The little testing that I've been able to do, it's a very impressive. The i7 we've used is a very impressive processor, but we just can't push it to its limit until I can get a proper cooler fitted and really push it as far as I can. But so far, yeah, good things from it.
Yeah, I'm going to say I've got the okay, nothing against any of the Deepcool products, but they've sent me some for a review anyway a while back. So, but I've got an Arctic 420 mil liquid freezer, and they've sent me the bracket for that as well. So, fingers crossed when the chip arrives tomorrow, it'll fit and the board will work, and away we go. But yeah, it does look a little bit power hungry, especially if you're pushing it, and a lot of heat. So I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of coolers which are going to struggle, which might be a good thing for coolers.
Peter actually did ask if at least I guess from Target side, if you can have any brackets ready, but just from Deepcool side to give you an idea. I will talk about it later as well. We have ordered some brackets to come to Target. Currently, they're kind of like spread out, and I think this will probably be the same for most vendors. Depending on what products they have. So like some air coolers will need different type of brackets, and then maybe their high-end air coolers will need different type of brackets. That's the case with us. So we'll be bringing 3 different types of brackets. One for liquid coolers, the liquid cooling range, one for high-end air cooling, and one for kind of the mid to entry-level air cooling. But yeah, they will be arriving to Target pretty much when the stock is arriving at the same time. They should have them in stock as well.
Right, okay. Right, we'll just say hi to Richard, and then we'll just go through everything. Let's have a look. So, well, hi, Richard. I've pretty much said it there already. So, I hope you're doing well. There is something going off on this show. Roni will actually go through it a bit more in a few minutes when he's doing his presentation, but we do have a competition. So look out for the links when we post the links, because if you click on that link, you'll get into for the competition, and all being well, if the technical things all work fine at Ronnie's end, then we'll be doing a live draw at the end of the show. Obviously, if it doesn't work, we'll blame Roni. So, but
No
fingers crossed, we should be all right. So Ronnie, if you want to start off, obviously doing your presentation, we'll go through that, and then we'll have a bit more banter and Q&A afterwards, and basically go through what anyone wants to know.
Sure thing. Sure. I'll take control of the screen now then.
No problem. Might take a second or two. Here we go, and there
Okay.
you go. You should be on now.
You should be able to see my
Just
screen.
before you start, guys, I'm just turning the chat off. So I'll turn the chat back on afterwards. But if you do comment, I can read it afterwards. It will show me. So if you do have any questions while the presentation is going through, just let us know. Just doing that so you can see the screen, because with the chat on, it sort of makes it really small in the corner.
No worries. You can screen. You can see my screen, right?
Yes, we can.
Cool. I'll get started then. Perfect. It does not go left. There we go. So I just want to run through a little bit about what Deepcool is, why you should look at Deepcool, and then why we chose Target, followed by some of the products that we got coming in, and then end with just a quick Q&A. I don't want to keep it too high level because I don't want to bore everyone out there. So this should be a quick whiz through on some of the stuff, even the product range, just to give you an idea of what's coming in. Obviously, if you have more questions, you can always feel free to reach out to me, either now, later, Skype, phone, email, whatever you feel necessary. Otherwise, the lads at Target will, or the lads and ladies at Target will all be having some training sessions around the products as well. So they'll be clued up on what the products are. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to them as well. But yeah, a little bit about Deepcool. So they were founded with, of course, the high performance PC like thermal solutions, and trying to find solutions regarding just heat management. And from there, we expanded into different areas, so cases, peripherals, power supplies, and so on and so forth. As with many other vendors as well, we are headquartered in the Asian side of the world. So currently, our headquarters are in Beijing, and we have our manufacturing facilities in Shenzhen. These are Deepcool owned manufacturing processes for majority of the products. Not everything, and I'll go through that later on as well. And the good thing about that is if there is anything that we need to change in products, or if we need to redesign products, for example, we can do that really quickly ourselves. It leads to the opportunities for like OEM and ODM production possibilities as well. So that's the benefit of having your own manufacturing processes. There is a factory tour that I found on YouTube. I didn't actually know this. I did a quick YouTube search and found it. So it's with Tech Syndicate, who is, I don't think he does much PC-based reviews, but this was in 2015. So it is a little bit old, but if you are curious, you can ask me for the link. Otherwise, it's in here, and I can share that in the chat later on as well. I know I'll get asked about this as well, so just a little bit of about Deepcool and some of the stuff that they're trying to achieve. And I really wanted to start off with some of the eco-friendly and green nature things going on around Deepcool. This is kind of like something that hits home to me. I'm a big advocate for green energy and just like EVs and stuff like that. So if you know me, you'll know I'll talk about Teslas all the time. But we do try and follow basically whatever the best ISO standards are, in this case 14,000 environmental management standards. This is from the HQ side of things, so in terms of production and the way products are sourced and actually material is sourced and then put together to try and be the most eco-friendly that we can. Obviously with building, with bending metal or building cases, coolers, power supplies, etc., there is an impact to the environment that you can imagine, but we are trying to minimize as best as we can on these regards as well. And on the innovative side as well, so Deepcool does hold a lot of patents. Probably the most impactful one was, it actually was announced last year, but we put it up on the website this year. So it's around the anti-leak technology. I think I've seen a lot of other brands use this anti-leak tech as well, but we do own the patent for that, which obviously we are able to source out and let other people use if they need to as well. For the team itself, so myself, UK country manager, and I look after the UK. But in the UK, I also have two other people. So we've got Diana Lung, who is basically the EU territory manager. So she oversees all of the EU processes, as well as more of a communication with the HQ as well. And then we have Charles, who is an EU product manager, but he also helps a lot with the marketing side of things. Oops. I don't think you guys will be seeing much of Dano or Charles, but I will try and bring them, especially to some of the bigger events. I will try and bring them down together. Charles will be joining me with some of the training sessions at Target. So if there is any big events around Target as well, more than likely you'll see him there as well. And Naya, Jenny, and Raina are more of the support team. They're based in China. So Naya does some of the EU marketing and more of the support base, so organizing samples and so on and so forth. And Jenny and Raina, who some of you might be able to speak to if there is any RMA or end user support, they'll be the ones who will be helping out. So if you email me directly regarding anything RMA based, or even if it's end user questions, then chances are I'll loop the two of them in as well, and then we'll be able to have a conversation in that regard. Cool. So Deepcool itself, at the start of this year, they went through a little bit of a brand refresh. A little bit. It was quite a big brand refresh and a VI update. So at the top, you'll be able to see a little bit of the old website. It was quite dated. It definitely was something that needed updating, but not only the website itself, just there was no really VI guidelines. So there was no interaction between different colors and product boxes, for example. The logo itself was quite dated. And basically, they went through an entire brand refresh, including a VI update. So at the bottom, I've got basically a snippet of the UK Deepcool website. So it's uk.deepcool.com, where you can check out yourself. It does run a little bit slow right now. We're just transitioning everything over. So for your first whiz through the website, it will run a little bit slow, but we're working to get that sorted out as quick as possible. But the entire thing has been revamped, looks a lot better, and part of that is also the new logo, and I'll show you some of the interactions coming up with that in the next slides as well. This is more of a design outlook, and this goes together with the VI. So these are not per se like products that are going to be out. Some of them are going to be coming out, but I wanted to just show this to some of the people out there as to how Deepcool imagines a product when it's coming to life. So if it's an air cooler, just starting off with the template and what they want it to look like, and also how they're going to be following the VI guidelines. So necessarily, this doesn't mean we're going to, put colored fans and colored blades in all of our coolers, but it's just an idea of how we can integrate some of the VI into all the products that we're designing. And it's probably better off shown in a couple of the next slides. So for example, with the dust filter flap, we'll have just a little line to indicate you can pull up from this location, and on that line it may have the Deepcool colors, so just like a teal color, and we can integrate some of the design from the logo itself. So either have little squares all the way throughout the product that indicate more about the logo itself, or just slapping on the logo indented into a product as well. And a good example is power supply switches. If there is a on and off switch or a hybrid fan function switch, and even the escape key on a keyboard, for example, we can have this colored. So some of this is coming in with the products that are coming into Target. You'll be able to see some of these ideas already in, especially with the new products. And as we move forward, more of the products will be designed around this as well. And finally, the logo itself. So the Deepcool logo actually can be broken down into tiny little blocks. The idea behind this is it's basically like little blocks, imagine Lego, that come together to build something. In this case, Deepcool is obviously a PC building company. So the idea is it's little blocks that you put together to build the logo, which kind of hints towards like building a computer, for example. So what we can do with these blocks is break them down and then use them to indicate direction. So with fans, if you want to indicate direction of the airflow, you can have 3 little squares and then another 3 on the other side to basically indicate the airflow is, going from top to bottom. Same with the arrow keys on keyboards, and with power supplies, just to indicate little edges around the power supply as well. So again, this isn't necessarily going to be on all products, but it is ideas and little nips that we can put into products moving into the future. And you will see some of these coming into some of the product ranges that Target's getting at the end of this month. Cool. And I've talked a lot about Target, but why are we going with Target, and who is Target and what do they do? But obviously, Target is our official UK distributor. They'll be getting stock pretty much at the end of this month. Unfortunately, with all the shipping frenzy that's been going on, it has been delayed a little bit, but we're still on track to basically have it arrive to their warehouse at the end of this month. So it's hopefully going to be around the 24th onwards. But between Deepcool and Target, and especially myself, I've had a long history of working together with the entire team at Target. So that's coming from the sales team to the purchasing to the marketing, and so on and so forth. So I think we've got a really good rapport between us, and I know their processes and they know mine. We both understand how each other works, For better or for worse, they've had to deal with me. So, if they can deal with me on a day-to-day basis, then they're probably the right distributor to go forward with. But apart from that, they have a really proactive and responsive sales team and support team. So I've never had any issues with reaching out to the sales team and getting a response back. They're usually quick to respond back and also follow up on anything that needs to be followed up on. And of course, their website. The website's really easy to use. They have a custom PC builder, which is a great help as well. So I'm sure you guys have seen the Target website and you've gone through it and you know why it's really good. But apart from that, the topping up of stock, I think that's something that we'll need to always be on the ball with. So if products go out, our product manager or our buyer is usually really good with just giving me a nudge and saying, hey, these products are out, I need to get some in, or even realizing products are going to go out of stock and ordering them beforehand. He's usually really quick to be able to sort something like that out. And they have enough bandwidth and personnel to basically cover what we need to do from our side as well. Cory, I don't think you've got anything else to add from your side, but if you do, feel free to jump in.
No, you've covered everything there at the moment.
Cool. I'll move on. Okay, so we'll move into the product stack for now. So I'll keep this, again, fairly high level. This presentation, I'm sure, Phil, if we need to send it out to anyone, we can. Just reach out to me. I can send you the PPT or even the PDF version of this. But to not bore everyone, I'll keep it fairly high level. So starting with cases. So we don't actually have a massive range that's coming in. It's been condensed down. Deepcool has a massive product stack, and we wanted to select something for Target that was quite easy to understand and easy to work with. So we actually only have a handful of products that are coming in, starting with the Matrix, which is basically going to be the high end of the gaming side of things. So we've got the Matrix 70, the Matrix 50. Both of these are, all the bells and whistles. They have Argb fans, they have controllers, tempered glass side panel. All our cases in the Matrix range will basically support eATX motherboard if it's a mid-tower or full-tower case. And yeah, that's in a nutshell there as well. The MSRPs I'll leave in on the screen as well, so you can have a quick look at them as well. And then we do have basically an entry-level Matrix range as well. So this is kind of like more for budget gaming systems, so on and so forth. So MATX, but a little bit on the cheaper side as well. Still with tempered glass side panel and still with all the Argb fans that you need. The mesh version is the only one that doesn't come without Argb fans. The reason we went for this one is we thought if people are looking for a more airflow-focused case, chances are they really know what they're actually going to be trying to build in. So this is more for like professional builds, maybe even some gaming, but we wanted to leave the flexibility open for users to pick what they want to put in this product. And if they're going for something high airflow, chances are they'll know what they're going to be putting in there and how to make it work. And then going down into more of the sleeker range, this is the Mark Cube. We've only picked 2 out of the, I think, 8 lines that are available as well. There is white options available, but we're just starting with the black range for now. If there is demand or if the people are looking at picking up some of these but would like to see a white version, either reach out to me directly and I can look to see if I can organize a sample. Otherwise, we'll just try and see if we can bring some of these into Target so you guys can have a pickup on. But the black versions, we've got the ATX and the MATX version, both kind of the mid-tier range as well. They support, ATX, MATX, and mini ATX motherboards, and so on and so forth. But the cool thing about these is they come with a GPU at like a anti-sag, basically, holder. So inside of it, on the motherboard tray, there's a little swivel joint that has a little plastic bit that you can use to prop up some of the graphics cards as well. And then going into some of the new ranges. So these are actually products that were just announced last month, the CG540 and 560. If you do a quick review of them, you'll be able to see some of even the UK-based reviewers doing videos on these. It's one that I'm more looking forward to, just because it's still hitting that gaming side of things, but it is a bit more on the premium side and still has all the features that you'd want from a gaming chassis, but even more from that. So they still support eATX motherboards, tempered glass side panels, whether that's on the side, but in the case of the 540 at the front as well. And then the 560 doesn't have a tempered glass front panel. It's actually perforated plastic, so you can have airflow, basically a more airflow optimized case as well. They come with Argb hubs and Argb fans, da-di-da-di-da. But yeah, this is where I think I'm looking forward to seeing what the customers think, and if they like the range, if they think we should be expanding on it. Further down the line, this is where potentially we'll be expanding down the range to Target as well, and would like to have more options available in this style of cases and in this style of market as well. On the cooling side, cooling is also quite simple. So we don't have a massive range. We try to keep it condensed. And just going from the high-end side, we'll have Argb coolers. They are a little bit more on the premium side, especially for Argb coolers, but I think we've priced them fairly competitively with the rest of the market. So, for example, the more flagshipy, the more fancy-looking 360mm coolers at 129, and then going down to 99. Both 360mm, both super high performance. Obviously, the Castle 360EX has a bit more of a performance boost than the 360 RGB, particularly just from the pump design. We have a slightly better pump design on the 360EX, and the fans are also a little bit better. But that's not to say the 360 RGB is bad. It's just more of a budget-friendly option in terms of the high-end cooling. And then you go down into your standard RGB coolers. Again, we've tried to price these as competitively as possible. So just for a standard RGB cooler, one thing we noted is we did want to introduce a 360mm version at a really good price point as well. So we are bringing in a standard RGB 360mm cooler, especially with, we were talking about the new Intel CPUs. I think stuff like this is going to be more needed moving forward as well. As for air, again, we had a massive selection of products to go with, but we've tailored down the range to this. Deepcool is also known for a lot of their cooling products, so we really had to tune down to what we wanted to bring into Target. So we do still have basically 3 of the top end products from Deepcool. The AK620 probably being the latest one. You guys will probably already have seen this on the Target feed because it is in stock at Target. It's not much left. We only brought a handful of products for the air shipment for launch, and most of which have gone already. But stuff like this is where, especially again with the new Intel CPUs, it would make more sense to go with products in this high-end air stack due to just their pure performance. So we're looking at anywhere between 220, 260 to 280 watt TDPs on an air cooler is actually really, that's really good. That's almost as good as basically the top-end liquid coolers as well, if not better than some of the top-end liquid coolers. And then going down into the entry options, we do have some Argb liquid air cooling, coming in as well at a really rough price point of $29.99, and then just standard air cooling as well, just no fans, no frill, just a black and a white air cooler with a 120mm fan. As for the brackets, so as I said already, we are trying to get the brackets into Target. They will definitely arrive before the container arrives, considering how delayed the container is going to be because of this shipping delays. So we'll be shipping a handful of these brackets into Target. The point of these is if people want to try them out specifically for LGA, just request them from Target and we'll see what we can do to provide. But otherwise, we are also going to be offering an end user portal. So this is more for end user customers. When they come in and they buy a cooler, they can submit a form online to receive a free of charge bracket as well. These are coming from China, so there is a bit of a lead time as well. But because we can airship them in, it's not too bad. It's usually about 7 to 10 days. And fans, we'll have a couple of fans in. There is going to be more that we're going to be expanding on, but for now, we just wanted to keep it kind of simple as well. So we just went for 2 120mm options, and they're both 3-in-1 packs. One that looks a little bit, fancier, and one that's usually more standard to what people are used to. Both Argb come with everything you need in the box as well. And then we have just one standoff laptop coolers as well that we're going to be bringing in as well. So this does have RGB lighting. It's just a little button that you can tap on the actual front of the unit as well. But again, we didn't want to flood Target with a bunch of products in. We've tried to keep it as concise as possible and just have the focus product that Target can work with. And power supplies. So power supplies, again, I think the point of everything about this is we're trying to keep it focused, and that's exactly what we did for power supplies as well. So usually what brands would do or other vendors would have is, a plethora of, 80 plus white, 80 plus bronze, 80 plus gold, and have all the different wattages in there as well. What we try to do is just have basically the option for an entry-level one-stop power supply, which is the 80 plus white 500 watt power supply. And then if you need a bit more, we step up from instead of white to bronze, and that's 600 and 700 watts. And then on the gold is where we're giving people more options between 650 to 850, whether that's a fully modular power supply or they just want a fixed cable power supply for a bit cheaper. The option is there as well. So it doesn't look like a massive range and I think that's probably for the better use people. We just want to have the option that people go for if they want something entry level, and then if they want step up to something that's bronze or even higher wattage, we give them a clear path as to where they want to go from there. All our products are 80+ certified. The certifications can be found in the link below. If you need it, just ask me and I can send that off to you guys as well. And peripherals, again, not a massive range, but trying to keep everything concise. I think that's the key word here again. So we've got the M310, just one gaming mouse that we'll be bringing in. It's just a lightweight honeycomb shell mouse. So this is 75 grams. But again, we're trying to hit a really aggressive price point. So looking at $29.99 MSRP. Same again with the mechanical keyboard. So this will have red switches at $54.99. They are going to be Otemu switches, so not looking at anything super flagship. We're still trying to keep it very aggressive in terms of price point. And then just 3 simple options for mouse pads as well. These are not RGB. They've just got the Deepcool color stitching all the way around them with the Deepcool logo, and at a really aggressive price point as well. But all the features and the specs are down here as well. I think we're quite competitive in terms of features and what we provide. So hopefully once you guys try it out, you can give me your feedback and let me know what you think as well in that regard. Cool. And as Phil said at the beginning, we are doing a quick giveaway. So we're giving away one of the keyboards, one of the mouse, and a power supply as well. Unfortunately, I don't have the cases and the coolers in stock yet because they're coming on that damn container, which is going to arrive at the end of the month. But otherwise, if you want to enter in, Phil will post the link in the chat. Just need to fill out your full name and your email address. Just hit save and that should submit it. And then we'll hopefully be able to pull winners at the end of the show if everything goes well. I'll keep my fingers crossed for that because chances are probably not. So there we go. That's everything from my side. I will stop sharing, Phil.
No problem. So we're back. Right. Yeah, that was a pretty good actual presentation, that, Ronnie. So
thank you.
I think you've shown us a lot of the stuff, what you've got. I think regarding the, I think you said you got a little video or something, what you want us to, people can have a look at. Was it a little video or?
No, I think that's everything. It was just the link to the live stream. Sorry.
Right. Okay. So yeah, that was it. Sorry, I think you said there was something that people, if they wanted, they could ask you to share it or something.
Yes. I have got links to the factory tour if you want, as well as the 80+ certification. Yeah. So if anyone wants to see that, I can't post it in the chat, but Phil, I'll Skype it to you, and then you can enter it into the chat.
If you want to send it either in the private chat or Skype it over, then I can put it on. That's not a problem. So yeah, so that's pretty good. So right, let's go through the chat. I'm going to see what everyone was thinking there. So let's have a look first of all. So we've got a couple of highs. Hi Robert, how you doing? We've got also another Richard as well. I'm pretty sure I recognise that Katie from somewhere. So how you doing, Katie? Long time no see.
She's obviously got me mistaken with someone else, unless she's talking about you or Cory, which probably is more likely.
It's definitely Phil.
I have a feeling it's Ronnie. I'm pretty sure of it. So, right, let's have a look what's going off here. So, right, so first question then we've got Justin saying, stock seems quite thin at Target at the moment. Is there plans for more stock to be implemented soon? I think you've just answered most of that in the chat, but I'll let you go over that again, Ronnie.
Yeah, well, I guess he's more talking about other vendors, but just from our side, the container will be hopefully arriving on the 24th. Funny thing is, it's actually arriving to the port basically this week, but from getting from port to Target warehouse is going to take quite a while. So you should start seeing Deepcool products from that first container. That is our very first container that's arriving, and that will be arriving at the end of this month. Just to give you times in terms of like scale, it's a 40-foot container, so you can imagine basically have a mixed selection of power supplies. I think there's about like 100 units each of whatever product range you're bringing in. Mixture of different cases, mixture of different coolers, anywhere between 100 to 200 pieces, and so on and so forth. But yeah, by the end of this month, the stuff that is thin is because we shipped it in just for a launch. So like we brought in the AK620, we brought in I think 24 pieces or 32 pieces just for launch a few weeks back. So that was just to cover, to be fair, it was to cover for me for the marketing side of things. So it sold because it went up on Stocking Channel and people could find it. But there we go.
Right, okay. So yeah, I'm going to say like the look a lot of the stuff, to be honest with you, especially some of the prices for the casing. And again, the price is what everyone's seen. That's obviously the retail price. That's not what you price you'll be buying it from Target from. Well, I'm hoping it's going to be cheaper at Target anyway. I'll be surprised if it's not. So obviously, some very interesting prices there. So you should be able to make some good markups. I'm going to say even some of those big cases, if they're at about 75 quid or whatever it was, or 85 pounds, that's pretty cheap for cases that sort of size with RGB lighting built in and stuff like that. I'm going to say a lot of these cases these days, especially in the last year, seem to have shot up in prices. You're looking at a couple
Yeah.
hundred quid for a large case these days with RGB lighting in, which seems to have gone through the roof. Doesn't seem long ago where we were going, oh my god, £100 for a computer case, when now it's like, oh my god, it's £300 for a computer case in some
When
cases.
you talk about graphics cards and cry at the same time as well.
That's it. It's, a lot of things have gone up with certain vendors. So
Yeah.
let's have a look. So Peter says website seems to load fast. So that seems good. I think he's
Good
on
to
about
hear.
your website. Okay. So yeah, more people saying that the cases look pretty decent for the price. Before we go any further, guys, if you haven't clicked that link to obviously win one of the items in the competition, make sure you do fill it in and so forth. Also, if you've got any questions for Roni or Cory, so you want to ask Cory something about Target, I don't know, anything random, I don't know who's the best account manager at Target or who's the worst one, feel free to ask him. And if you've got any views for Roni, or if you've recognized Roni from somewhere and you just can't put a finger on it, feel free to ask. I'm going to say I can tell you where I know him from, but I think, okay, I've obviously not had any of the Deepcool products yet to play with myself, so obviously I'm guessing there will be some on the way to myself to have reviewed and so forth. If not, well, tough luck, you're sending some now. But one thing I can tell people, if they haven't come across Roni before, is he's a pretty good guy to trust, to be honest with you. I've worked with Roni for a good few years. And if you don't know, the first product we reviewed at Tech for Techs was one of Ronnie's products. Well, not his specifically, but the company he worked for at the time, products. So he was actually the first review and also the first vendor what was in Tech for Techs at the time. So obviously we've grown a little bit since then. That was in the beginning of 2018, so about 4 years ago now, nearly. So we've grown a little bit since then. So what, 1,300 members we're up to now. So things have changed a little.
I think my first like live, well, not it was not live, but my first like interview in terms of putting myself in front of camera and talking about brand was with you guys as well. So there's a lot of firsts that I attribute down to you guys as well. It's been super fun working with you over the years. So yeah,
that's it. And as we always say, it's always good to work together, especially in this industry at the moment. The places what generally don't like to take part are the ones what lose out. So, but I'll
I
stick
see a
with that.
question about pricing just on the topic of that. Someone asked, Cory asked if there's no pricing on the Deepcool website. The Deepcool website is more just kind of like an end user portal basically for people to see the products. We do have where to buy links, and to be fair, the entire website is also under my control, so I can change around what we need to do. We're still working on it, but the idea is to have kind of like where people can go into the where to buy and search by location, to have all the different stores that do supply Deepcool products to go from there. But I don't think we'll ever put the actual MSRPs on the product itself. It's just something that people, once they click on the product and learn a bit more about it, they can go to the where to buy link and find the products that they need from there as well. But just on that topic of pricing as well, so I also look after the UK pricing in terms of MSRPs and costs as well. So I have taken a lot of feedback on already. I've had a few visits so far on some of the products where people were asking if the MSRP might be too high on certain range or might be too low on certain range, and think, it's actually good that we're doing that. But we take that feedback to heart, and I do need help sometimes in knowing what's out there and what the right pricing should be for products. So if you see something that's off, or you think maybe it's not the right pricing, or you'd like to see us change in any sort of way, we'll take that feedback on board, and we'll look into it as well. It's something we can do, so why not utilize it for your benefit as well.
Okay, that's a pretty good one. We've also got a question come in from Facebook user as well. Facebook user, if you haven't clicked that link above in the chat, make sure you do. That'll allow your name to be shown. But it says, looks good. We'll look forward to trying those products out in the store. So I think that's Macaulay, if I'm right, actually, who's asked that question. But yeah, definitely looks like some good products to show off in your store there. We've also got one from Dean Wood as well. Well presented. The whole range appears on Amazon by the looks of things. Price breaks for indies to stay competitive.
That's a good question. Actually, I think you'll probably find, unless there's a promotion going on, we'll try and keep Amazon's. Well, I can't talk too much about this on a live stream, but Amazon should be generally more expensive than what the UK sellers will be able to offer, and it will be about £5 difference. And the reason we're doing this is because Amazon tends to offer Prime or free delivery basically, and that can be anywhere between £4 to £6. So the idea is for the UK base or the UK customers to be able to be lower than that, and then that's the way they can basically stay competitive. So if someone does try and come into your store and look for something, hopefully your MSRP should be able to beat what Amazon is already offering, just purely in the way we have priced our products.
Okay.
I don't know if that answers your question. It's a bit difficult to answer on a live stream. I'd happy to talk to you about that, and but just so you know, there is that's that.
Yeah. I know from past experience speaking to other vendors that Amazon does like playing a few tricks with prices now and again, so you can't always be 100% all the time, but without putting anyone in any trouble or anything, saying anything. But yeah, so basics is it should be competitive enough, so if you're buying it from Target, in most of the cases, it should be cheaper. So, right. So, where's the link to enter the draw? Come on, Cormac. You should be watching the show. Let's put the link back on for him. Where is it?
Richard asks if the cases come with an Argb hub. Pretty much all our cases and coolers will have the hub included, but we are using standardized Argb headers. So if you want to plug them into the motherboard, then you can do that as well. And the good thing is, like, you can obviously just use any splitter cables to do that. Just remember, if it's Argb, it's 5 volt. If it's RGB, it's 12 volt. But all of our cases are 5 volt because they're all Argb. There is one exception on the entry level case. That one it's basically always on, so there's no way to control or turn off the lighting because it is quite a budget case. I mean, we're talking about like sub £30, so MSRP. In that regard, the fans will always be on and they're always cycling their Argb effects. But everything else you can control however you wish using the controller. There'll be a button on the case that you can use to cycle the effects, or you can plug it into the motherboard and use whatever software you're used to.
Right. Okay, that's pretty good. Also, the guy's asking about the links. For some reason, it wasn't posting it into Facebook. My fault this time, so I'll let you off, Cormac. So I've posted it now. So if you do want to enter the prize draw, make sure you click that link, which is in chat. You can copy and paste it if you're wanting to, or write it down. It's also in the Facebook chat. It should be on YouTube chat, everywhere else as well. You're watching it. Just click the link and it should take you to the competition, fingers crossed. If you enter, obviously, that, you've got a chance of winning one of 3 products. Was it, Roni? What
all
products
3.
were they
I'm
again?
doing 1 winner, 3 products because I'm lazy.
Okay. Right.
Not doing 3 different 3 different shipments. No, we're just going to put in one box and ship it out together.
You've got a chance of winning all the products then. So, and what was it? 10 GeForce RTX? No, I'm kidding. So getting him in trouble here. All right. Okay. So let's have a look. So what else have we got there? Let me just go back there. So yeah, Cormac is basically asking about the island link by the looks of it. So,
yeah, I've actually just done a quick search of that. we need to add that in. I'll look into it and get it sorted out. We'll sort that out. That's not a problem.
That's no problem then. Right, okay, some of the questions I've got. Let's go back to the questions then. So first question is, what makes your products different? Why should we buy the products from you rather than, say, another vendor?
No, that's a good question as well. I think part of that is also, at least from my perspective and the people that I've worked with in the past in the UK, a lot of it is down to relationship and how we can support you thereafter the fact. So no doubt we've had people with products that they've bought from me in the past, and sometimes things go wrong and it doesn't always go right, and we've had to support the customers in their venture, or to actually sort out what the problems are. So I think a big part of that as to why you should, work with me as well, is to just, we're here to support you. So if something goes great, then great, we'll be there with you. But if something does go wrong, then we'll try and do whatever we can to fix it as quick as possible. But in terms of Deepcool and the products as well, I mean, I've received samples myself as well. I think the quality of the products are also really top notch in what we're able to produce, especially for some of the pricing that we're able to hit. And because it's all produced by Deepcool, minus obviously the power supplies. Power supplies are OEM'd out, but again, that's a good one as well. Having the production in-house just means we're able to really look after the quality control and make sure what we're shipping out is good and isn't going to fail anyone. As for the power supplies, working with CWT right now for pretty much entirety of the range that we're bringing into Deepcool. So they are going to be CWT OEM'd, which is, from my experience in the past, has always been a good thing. I've been quite happy with CWT products, and I'm glad that we're also using them moving forward. And on the 80 plus gold, actually moving forward, this is another thing about Deepcool. I don't see them going to the cheapest OEM out there. So a great example is some of the products that we're coming out, like even the 80 plus gold will have some CWT models, but we're actually going to be working with Seasonic to produce some of like Seasonic OEM power supplies as well, which hopefully should arrive in Q1 of next year as well. So that's a big part of things as to what I see Deepcool doing right, is basically not going for the cheapest OEM, especially on power supply side, and trying to work with people who actually are reputable and have always had a good track record. So yeah, hopefully that answers that question as well.
If I could just jump in there, I have had, we have received a couple of samples at Target, and just to confirm, I can say the quality of the products is far superior to what you would expect for the price point. I've seen other brands at a much higher price, and the quality of the steel, the thickness, the internal features wouldn't match.
Yeah. So you actually got the Marcube 110, which is, I think it was a mini ITX version or 3.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that's a sleek looking case. But it's actually quite sturdy considering like how tiny it is. It's one that you can definitely hit someone on the top of the head and knock them out with if you can carry it up.
Not that we'd recommend anyone tries that at home.
I don't condone violence.
So that's pretty good. Right, okay. Call me again. So Cormac likes his comments about Ireland today. So he's basically saying he can't buy. He doesn't buy off Amazon. He's no good for Ireland to buy off.
How's shipping from Target to Ireland? How do you guys handle that? Is that something that's possible?
It is. But as with everything where you export, it is a constantly changing goalpost for us. It was a mess to start off with when we first did the Brexit. It is getting better. We now have the ability to ship pallets at a much easier way, rather than things getting, like, we did have quite a lot of things get held up in customs. The custom sheets we still have to fill in are a nightmare, but it is getting better. Right now, yes, we're quite, we're confident we can ship to Ireland.
Cool. Yeah, I guess that maybe helps Cory then. Probably best to speak to your account manager and see what they can do in getting the shipment out to you.
That's pretty good. Yeah, call me. Also, he says Target's good, so that's an honour in itself because we know him as the King of Ireland. So Target's he's got a royal basically now saying that they're pretty good. So there we go. Right, okay. So this one's for you, Cory. I don't know how you want to answer this one. This is from Richard. He says, "Is your wallpaper especially for November the 5th, or does he leave it up all year?"
Yeah, it does look like explosions. Normally, Richard, I would have a green screen up. Unfortunately, the dog's eaten it, as with most things in the kitchen. Yeah, you've got my lovely wallpaper at the moment.
It's not the worst wallpaper I've seen, so I'll let you off there. Right, so let's have a look. So, okay, so what's your stance on net zero or with plastic and packaging and stuff like that at the moment. Because, for example, we're reviewing a lot of products and we're finding, let's just say, a specific brand of router we reviewed a few weeks ago, and there must have been about 20 plastic bags around the thing. There was more plastic on it than the actual was in the actual product. So what's your stance on that?
I'll start with me personally. I can talk on about this for ages, but ignore that for now. Yeah, I've always been a big advocate for trying to reduce plastic. I did try. I mean, even actually Target. I remember getting emails from you guys in the past saying there's too much plastic in the products. Like there's no need. And I really have tried to push to basically to try and move away from just having silly plastic all over the place. I recently opened up one of the samples of power supplies as well, so I noticed that the bags it basically came in 2 separate bags. So all your definitely needed cables, so your PCIe cables, EPS connectors, and motherboard cables came in one plastic bag, and then there was another plastic bag for all the other cables, so your Molex and SATAs and so on and so forth. So in a way, I was just kind of hoping, like, if they did need to go down the route of plastic bags, then just put it in one, or cloth. Just something like a cloth bag might be even better to go down for it. And that's the feedback that I've tried to pass on to HQ. And from my experience so far, they've been really damn good with actually hearing up and picking up on any sort of feedback, whether that's, for example, on the website side of things and getting things sorted out on there, or even just hardware side of things. So I will be pushing it for it myself, just being a kind of a energy and nerd in that regard. Like I do actually have a passion for green energy, and net zero is basically a place that we need to go. I don't think Deepcool is able to get to a production facility, for example, that is net zero. I think that's really hard to accomplish right now. But in terms of minimizing the impact to the environment, stuff like silly things like stuff like double bag plastic, we can definitely cut that out.
So it's a work in process, but it's getting better. So that's good. I think a lot of people are going to be having to change the ways over the next few years, I think, on that one. Right. So what's Deepcool's future plan? So have you got any I don't know, products coming out that you want to tell us about, or you can't tell us about, but you are going to anyway, or anything like that?
Everything I've spoke about has been announced, but doesn't mean that the products are being sold yet. So a lot of the way we operate is we'll have like an announcement, usually about a month before the stock arrives, sometimes more. For example, there's this container with Target. It's taken a little bit of time. And sometimes it'll be around 2 weeks before the product actually arrives. So in the case of that AK620 that you guys got in stock right now, but obviously not many pieces left, that was about 2 weeks from the date that it was launched to when people can buy it. And in the future, definitely, there's going to be more products that are coming out. I'm hoping to plan this next container as well with Target to make sure that we have some of the new products in there. There will be new cases, and I mentioned in the presentation, for example, in the CG line of cases, we're looking to expand on that side of things. So particularly between the mid to high end product range, where we're looking to basically have more options or more models in there that we can offer to people, and then revamp some of the entry-level models as well. So yeah, down the line, we're looking to revamp the power supply range. We're looking to revamp some of the entry-level cooling and case range. And I think by Q2 next year, you'll be able to see a lot new products at Target. In fact, even earlier than that, probably by Q1, you'll be able to see some of the new products arrive to Target as well.
Okay, that's pretty good. Right, Cormy's asking questions again. Again, anyone else has got any questions other than Cormy, feel free to ask, because he's pretty much asking everyone. I can see there's plenty of you watching, so feel free to ask. You've got any questions for Roni, feel free to ask them. You got any questions for Cory, feel free to ask them. I can see one from Dean in a second, which I'm going to ask Cory. He's going to look forward to that one.
Yeah,
but first,
see that one coming.
Yeah, first we'll go to the one from Cormy. Is, are you going to Tech Max?
You've asked me this as well. I've not committed 100% yet, but I really want to go. So I think there's the fact that I really want to go means there's probably like a 99% chance that I'll go. But if anyone knows me, is I always plan things on the fly. I am definitely one of those like, hey, I'm just going to do this tomorrow. I'm going to do this next week. And planning less than a year in advance for me is very difficult. It's actually the opposite for me. But I've marked the date down in my calendar as well already, so I know I need to do something about this, and I just need to confirm. So yeah, there's like a 99% chance you'll see me there. I've been to much of the Target events in the past. Obviously, this is a first for you, Phil, so it's a bit different. But if you've ever been to Target events, chances are you've seen me. So I would like to make sure that I'm available at some of these events, and TechMax is definitely one that I want to be at.
That's a pretty good answer then. So, one thing I would say is if you are interested in coming, Roni, we need to sort it as soon as possible. That's not me just
Skype each other right
pitch.
after this.
We've really not got much in the way of tables left, and that
Sure.
also goes to Target as well. I'll come to your stance in a minute, Cory, but I think you've already said that in the past. I think via Paul, I was forgetting his name now. He's
not
leaving
gone
and
yet.
forgetting his name. So, but yeah. So basically, need to sort that ASAP if you are wanting to. We've pretty much sold near enough all the evening tickets for the second time over now. So I think we're down to about 15 free tickets left on the evening meal of 180. So there's definitely going to be quite a few people there. So if you are wanting to go, obviously let us know, and that goes for anyone who's watching. I'm not trying to sell TechMax tonight. That's not the idea. Tonight's to show off Deepcool, but it'd be a good idea for you guys to turn up, because I think a lot of people would like to see what you've got to offer, especially at those prices and what you've got looks. And I know you can set up a decent computer because I've seen you set them up before. So I'm pretty sure you'll show off some pretty good things. Right. Next one for Cory. Actually, first of all, we'll go to Cory about TechMax, because some people might not know the answer to this. Are you guys going to be attending TechMax? Is Target going to be there?
Obviously, we've had this conversation before. We can't at this moment commit, but this is you can see we've as Target haven't even announced our own event. We would normally do one large event and possibly a couple of small events during the year. We haven't announced anything, and it is just internally we're not sure what we're doing because there are so many changes in the business right now. And until we know where we're going, we can't commit. We don't want to say yes, and then things change in a month or so. Regardless of whether we are or aren't, and we would love to be there. Regardless of that, we will support you in any way we can. Especially with vendors. If we can't get there, we will try and get as many vendors there to support both you and everyone else in the community here.
Okay, thank you, Cory. I knew the stance anyway. This was just basically for the people who are watching, so for Call Me and everyone else. Right, another question for you now, Cory. Let's go on to Dean's question. I think you've seen that one pop up. So, Cory, can we touch on GPU allocation? I won't go through this full thing. You can see it on the screen. So, what's your take on this?
We are all in the same boat. We are trying to get as many GPUs as we can, and we are buying them from places that you wouldn't believe that we would even consider buying from in the past. I can't make personal comments in regards to this. I'm not part of the sales team. I don't get to see the allocation. The only bits I get to see are the SI cards, where we are essentially put in a situation from the manufacturers where we are told we have to use so many cards in our builds. Other than that, I don't really get involved in this. However, I do know you have been a very long customer, Dean, and I will speak to Carl directly in regards to this.
Okay, so that's a pretty good answer. And hi, William, as well. So thanks for joining us. Right, next question. Obviously, Target's famous, or sort of famous is probably the best way for putting it, for the custom builder, which I think Cory is sort of responsible for. Will we be seeing any like pre-built Deepcool systems or anything like that up for sale, like a whole machine? Obviously not the CPU or the motherboard, but like the case, power supply, and everything, like a pre-built.
We will. We are planning on a bit of a couple of stages on this. The stock, theoretically, if customs lets goes of it, the stock will land on the 25th of November, at which point the stock will go live and you will be able to purchase that direct as components. Some of the products that I've already had the opportunity to look at or some of the products where I can gain enough of the information will be in the custom builder instantly. Some of the products where I need some more information from them and I physically have to get the unit out to check, they may take a little bit longer to go into the custom builder for you to be able to pick from. And that could be anything from I need to measure the case, the cables, routing that we need to check, airflows that need to be considered, especially with the new hotter CPUs. But on launch, a couple of days after launch, after we get hold of the stock, we are looking to have at least 20 Intel 12th gen or socket 1700 gaming builds on the shelf with 3070 RTX 3070s in, I believe, and they will be up for purchase for anyone that wishes to grab one of them.
Sounds pretty good. That sounds pretty good. I think everyone's got questions for you tonight, Cory. So Richard's asking, can we get the loop all-in-ones on the PC builder?
The rules don't apply to all-in-ones at this moment in time. It is something we are looking at, but there are so many different types that the rules would need to be individually written for each unit. So, for example, one of the plans is to get NUCs in there as well. But the NUC from one company may be completely different from a NUC from another company. And not just, I'll give you an example. On the loop ones, we have two different units. Whilst the screen is there and you can, the basics are there, the screen and the power supply, one of them comes almost bare bones to a point where it's just a chassis and a screen and a power supply, so you can then start fitting motherboards to it, whereas the second loop unit we have actually has a motherboard pre-fitted. So the rules don't apply for both units. It is something we're going to do. It's just a long process of trying to get the rules in place that work correctly to make sure that we're satisfied that it will be able to work.
Okay, I think that pretty much answers that one. Right, guys, if you have got any more questions, make sure you send them in before it's too late. If you haven't already, make sure you click on that link. I keep posting. If it's not showing in chat, you'll just have to type it out and so forth for the prize draw. I'm going to paste it again now. If you don't do that, you're not going to win anything. It's as simple as that. So just make sure you do, because I want to see Roni give all his stuff away to other people. So, no, I'm kidding. But yeah, so make sure you click on that link. I've posted as many places as I can, but obviously if the stream has been shared somewhere else, it might not copy the text directly into that chat window. So obviously just write it down as it is on the screen. I think most of us know how to use a keyboard, so which is HTTPS, so forth. So just type that in to enter the competition. Right, we've got another question from Dean. Roni, are there any plans for point of sale support for the indies? Extremely important for all of us. Yeah, this is something I got asked as well pre-show by a couple other people. So any digital or posters or anything along that lines?
Yeah, so I'll start with the digital side. We actually, when I was mentioning part of the team, I mentioned Naya, who does some of the EU marketing and support. So she's actually able to create digital assets. If you need anything for the website, you just need to shoot me a message with what you need, how you want it to look roughly, and we can probably produce something like that in about 2 to 3 days turnover. So that's from the digital side. It's quite difficult to create some of the more I guess like in-store, posters and stuff like that. And I think I've worked with some of the people in here before to organize things like that. It took a long time to get this thing set up, and it took a long time to find quality posters or even like just stickers that you can put up on the wall. So I am looking into basically trying to do this locally again. It's what I did in the past. I just created some locally designed posters. I made the designs myself for what we want to have on the artwork itself. And then just got them produced somewhere in the UK. I forget which company we used. And I'm looking into doing something like that again. The only downside about doing it this way is because I'm not bulk ordering, usually I can get something like, basically 30 to 50 pieces of any sort of posters that we want to make, whether that's like I don't know what size, but like fairly large size posters. And they're fairly expensive. So I can't do too many. but I am looking into doing that fairly soon, and hopefully by the time this container arrives, that we can have at least some stuff available for the indies to have a look at. But yeah, if you need any digital assets created, at least you just need to send me a message, and I can look into that as well. So that's not a problem at all. And finally, for example, like people have asked in the past whether there's going to be samples available in store, so if they can have products on display or something like that. I usually do this on a one-to-one basis. Like I'll come and meet you guys and see what we can do in that regard. So if it's something that you wish to look into again, or do you think it might help your business, then just send me a message, and I can organize either a in-person visit or just have a quick call and see what we can do to try and organize some of that stuff as well.
Okay, well, that's a pretty good answer there. One idea what might be beneficial to target, or an idea as you think about with digital assets, it might be a good idea to have them on one of your tabs on the product page or something like that, so people can download them when needed or something like that. Like posters, web banners, they'd have to print them out themselves and so forth. But it's just an option. Obviously, it's something for you to think about, Cory.
We already have that. Should the product actually have any digital marketing material, it's attached to the product itself.
Well,
So
there you
on
go
the
then.
little tabs there, you would find something. If it says marketing material on there, or I believe we host both marketing material and data sheets, where the manufacturers have been able to provide us with the information.
Okay, that's pretty good.
I think what might be a good idea, Cory, between us is if I do create some digital assets, maybe more like blanket ones where they can be applied to a number of places, and then people can print them off themselves directly or just pop them up on the website. So I guess we could create like some sort of like rotating banners, just like Deepcool and Target, and maybe like a nice splash screen or something that people can flick through and download if they need.
Yeah, we can host that centrally, or if you visit, I think the Target Facebook group, Facebook page also has quite a lot of marketing materials that's available from there as well.
Okay.
Well, there you go. That answers that one. And I think that answers Macaulay's question as well. Do you have any data sheets readily available? So I think that answers that question as well. So one of the things you keep mentioning, Roni, if people, you keep saying that people can contact you if they've got any questions. How do they contact you?
Skype's usually the best way. So if you just search my name, Ronil, I think you'll probably be able to find it that way. Otherwise, I don't know what's the best way to put my email in here.
Just put it into the private chat and I'll put it on screen.
Okay, cool. Yeah,
And put your
otherwise just
chat-
drop me an email, and I'll be able to respond to that as well. I'd like to say I'm fairly quick with responding, but Cory and Phil, you're probably best to advise on that if I am indeed quick at responding. I think I am.
You're pretty quick when I ask you questions, that's for sure. So yeah, just put it in the private chat, send it me on Skype, and
Sure.
saves me looking it up. And put your Skype name down on there as well if you've got a Skype name, and I'll post them both on there. So right, so Roni, here we go, copy, and I'll put that on the screen now for everyone. So add.
So while you're doing that, if I could just quickly follow up on Dean and I think Richard's question. We're aware of the GPU shortages. If there's anything such as a build that you want us to build because you can get the GPU and we can't, or again with the Loop products, please just speak to your account manager or anyone in the sales team. Let them know what you want us to build, and we will build a PC excluding the card. And as long as you tell us which card you're putting in, we will pre-wire for that card for you.
Okay. I think that pretty much answers that one then. Right. Okay. So let's go on to some more questions I've got.
I have a silly one for you guys.
Okay, go on then.
I noticed the Loop all-in-one thing. Can you, in layman's terms, say what a Loop all-in-one is? Because I was thinking you were talking about like all-in-one liquid coolers, but I'm guessing it's not that, is it?
No, it's an all-in-one PC. We had them on the show a few weeks ago, and I've noticed Target have started selling them since then. Probably not due to obviously the show, but they've probably had a word with I think it's Stephen. Is it Bloomfield? Is it off the top of my head?
Yes.
Basically, it's an all-in-one, as in an all-in-one PC, but it's customizable, so you can stick your own motherboard in, RAM, CPU, and so forth, bit like you would a normal PC. And they do also have some NUC versions as well. So you can just stick in, obviously, the element card and away you go. Cory
Cool.
can probably go a bit more in depth, but that's, I think, pretty much it. I think Target's only doing the ones where you can add the boards in at the moment, aren't they, yourself?
But I can't remember if they've got one or two options in there. The one with we've tested quite a few of the units available. I'm very positive about the one where you can add your own board, a micro ATX board. It is so universal in regards to you can just literally do anything with that. It is a very, very adaptable unit. The second one, I believe we've got some with H310 boards in, which are a little bit more restrictive in regards to what you can do with them. But again, still a great product.
Yeah. So basically, if someone's got very little desk space and they want an all-in-one or whatever, it's they're ideal. And sorry to plug them or anything, but they will also be at the Tech Max event as well. So if you want to see them, obviously you'll be able to see the products and so forth as well. So that's be pretty cool. Right. Okay. So let's have a look. Where were we? So questions we've got. Okay. If someone is having an issue and the distributor can't help, can they contact you, Roni, to sort out the problem?
Yeah, always. In fact, I probably would say if they're like just pester me if there's anything you need in terms of support. Not because it's bad, like Target can't do it, but usually it's quicker if you just message me, and sometimes even easier for all parties, including Target, if you message me. So sometimes you'll have like, I don't know, an IO panel that's broken or not working correctly, or tempered glass panel that you dropped or arrived damaged. You dropped. Just message me and I'll be able to sort something like that out, where we can ship you out replacements, either straight from China, or we'll look to see if we can do some RMA stuff with Target as well. But yeah, Jeff, it's easy to just reach out to me on Skype, and I can look into doing something like that. And yeah, not a problem at all.
Right. Okay. Well, I've got one more question after this. So if anyone else has got any more questions they want to ask, I think Ronnie's pretty much answered everything all the way through the show anyway. Presentation was pretty good, so not a lot left to answer and ask. But if you have got any questions you want to know and want to know how to get hold of the stuff when it'll be again, just feel free to ask. We'll run through everything again and go from there. But the last question I've got from pre-show is, what is the length of the warranty on your products? And if anything goes wrong, do I have to send it back to Deepcool and mess about with all these ticketing systems which you can never log into, not naming any other brands, or can I send it directly to Target for them to sort it out?
Yeah, so I'll start with warranty. It's dependent on product, but basically pretty much entirety of, like, for example, our cases and coolers, I think are 2 to 3 years, if I remember correctly off the top of my head. Most of the power supplies at Target are getting are 5 years, including the AWS White and Bronze. The exception is one of the gold power supplies is 10 years. And then peripherals is, I think, 2 to 3 years as well between them. But if there's any warranty issue, you can reach out to me and I'll be able to help. But otherwise, Target's usually going to be the point of call for any sort of like RMA type returns, so dead and arrival stuff like that. If it does happen, they'll be able to help you out. Regarding do you have to return to China? Actually, that's a massive pet peeve of mine. I already talked about trying to be energy efficient and this whole net zero idea. I still find it absolutely silly why we would need to return a product back to China only for them to then give you the credit note in that regard. So what I would recommend is, and what we're trying to do with Target is, the product does need to be returned just to be able to fulfill the RMA, but it just needs to go to Target, and then from Target's there on, they submit the RMA claim to us, but they don't need to ship it back to us. We just allow them to destroy it for us if they need to, or to utilize it in any way they can. So I know what they've done in the past is they've been able to take, like, if it's an RMA case, but it's a tempered glass panel that's broken down, sometimes they hold a few pieces on the side, and then they'll be able to, scavenge and Frankenstein something in the future if they ever need to. That's totally fine with me. I'd rather they do that than be able to, completely send back an entire pallet full of cases for no reason. Peter, they're definitely not coming here. I've already got samples in my home as well, and I'm struggling for space in my room, so I hate RMAs coming to me. I've done that once. I made the mistake of bringing some RMAs to me, thinking I can use them to Frankenstein something in the future, but that was a mistake. Never happening again.
That's it. So it looks like Peter wants to bring his RMAs directly to your house. By the looks of it, I think that's what he's saying there. So yeah, so I think there's pretty good answers there. So again, last chance, anyone. If you've got anything else you want to ask, feel free to ask it and so forth. We're going to go into the competition in a few minutes' time. So Ronnie will figure a few bits out and so forth, and do all his copy and pasting and pressing buttons and anything else he's got to do to get the competition doing. So make sure you click on that link ASAP. I'm going to put it on the screen again. It's already on the screen now, and I've already pasted it a million times. So if you haven't entered and you don't win, well, it's your own fault. It's basically that simple. So first of all, before we do that, is there anything else you would like to add, Ronnie or Cory, about obviously Deepcool or even Target?
Cory, do you want to go first?
Oh, yeah. What can I add?
Put you on the spot, haven't I?
Yeah. Obviously, most people know Target. We'll try and help everybody out with everything. I have seen the Deepcool stuff for those that are late to the event. It is very, very good quality. We will definitely be using some of these in our builds going forward, not just as a one-off, constantly using these in the builds. Other than that, yeah, just go Target, but make sure you buy everything from Target. We second to non-customer service. The amount of additional things that we offer, feeds, custom builders, everything that we do, we try to give you everything for free. In fact, I don't think we charge for anything.
Free graphics cards?
Maybe we should.
I'll have a 12900K, please, then, if it's all free.
3080 Ti my way as well, please.
There you go. I think you might be fighting with Dean.
So, right, but yeah, so yeah, Target, guys, if you haven't used Target before, brilliant company to work with. I've been working with them for years, not only down to the reviews and shows like this, but also for our retail store. I think the biggest selling point for them is the added services. The install PC builder, for example, on its own has made me a lot of money. I won't lie about it. So being able to sell lots of machines and systems with ease, people can design them in the store. You don't have to look up, oh, does this one have a certain socket and this one have this socket, and will this board fit on here? Will this cooler, is the wattage right? And all the different things like that. Will it take DDR4 memory, or is it DDR5 now? Or is it NVMe SATA based, or is it M.2 SATA based or NVMe based, and so forth? It does all that for you, and you can start from basically the smallest item on there and build a machine all the way from the smallest to the largest, or you can start with a case and then build it from there, whichever. I've pretty much sold the custom builder for you, but I think you should come on a show in the future, Cory, and just to show off what the custom builder can do for the people who have not used it before. Get yourself on, and I'd say get one of your account managers on as well, someone like Sean or something, or maybe one of your other account managers will actually know something.
Oh, wow.
I tell you what,
I'm only kidding with Sean.
Let me get the nooks and the all-in-one sorted out, and I'll come and introduce it.
Yeah, okay, that sounds like a pretty good idea. So, right, let's just have a quick check through there. So, Richard says, I beat him to it. Dean Wood, where does Ronnie believe Deepcool sits in the market in basically against Corsair, Marvo, Cougar, and so forth? Where do you guys sit?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think at the moment where Deepcool is, we are still seeing ourselves kind of being at the entry to mid-level in terms of ASP, and also where other competitors are as well. So you're looking at basically the likes of, for example, Aerocool is probably the best example, where some of our products are going to be pretty much competing directly with what they have. Same again with any other brands in that regard. The products that we have right now, at least the products that we've got coming in, we're not ready to compete with a brand like Corsair, just in terms of where their name and brand power is. And we're not going to try to. I don't think it's something that we need to lie to ourselves and say, Deepcool can compete with Corsair, but they have a massive name behind them, and people do buy their products purely because of the name. So it'd be silly for us to try and price ourselves basically smack against them, whether that's Corsair, NZXT, Fractal, or anyone else. But the likes of Aerocool, the likes of Cooler Master, for example, is where we really want to try and position ourselves and try and take some market share away from there. I think with the products that we've got coming out, especially with some of those new cases, those are prime examples of where we want to position a product that's really good in terms of quality, in terms of spec, and able to trade blows with some of those guys who are in that mid-level ASP. So going up from, for example, from $49.99 all the way up to $79.99. That's where we really want to situate ourselves. In the future, yeah, it'd be great to have a brand that's able to, for example, bring in 160. I remember looking at the Fractal Torrent, I think it's called. That's like a £180 case. Good looking case, but it's quite expensive. £180 for a case is it's no chump change. But they're able to pull something like that off because they do have a good looking case, a good looking product, and they've got a brand name that's behind it as well. So yeah, hopefully in the future we'll be able to come out with products like that and be able to compete with them. But for now, we're still keeping our site basically closer to reality, and then try and build up from there.
Right, just to let you know, and the reason why I'm typing, it seems like Facebook has gone down, or at least the stream, but we are still live on YouTube and so forth, and I'm getting about 100 messages saying...
You might not have heard any of that.
Yeah, so I'll give everyone links to the YouTube video anyway afterwards, or the side of things. That's the problem with Facebook. Sometimes things go down and so forth, which is a pain in the backside.
Hopefully he heard my answer. If not, yeah, I don't know if there's a VOD. Is there a VOD of the stream?
There will be afterwards, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
they should be able to see everything. But I think it's pretty much at the end of the show anyway. So the only thing they've going to miss out on is basically if they've won anything. So if you want to get that competition rolling, or share your screen so we can see what's what.
Okay, so just to everyone that entered, I can't actually see your details until I hit the winner, but we'll go through that together. I'm using a free account of Gleam, of course. So just in terms of like the privacy nerds out there, I'm not collecting any information. It's all just started out anyway. And then when I pull the result, the only thing I'll be able to see is your what information you entered, so your name and your email address. But I will share my screen now.
And let me turn it on here. Here we go. Yeah, let me just make it really big and get rid of the chat window. Here we go.
Cool. You can see
there
my screen.
Go. Yeah.
Awesome. Let's go for it. And I'm going to do it now. Oh, this is
this
the anticipation.
Error.
Richard, there we go. So Richard
Creedy, well done. Looks like you've won a few bits and bobs. So what is it? A mouse, keyboard, and what else was it?
A mouse, keyboard, and a power supply. So gold power supply, a mechanical keyboard, and a gaming mouse as well.
That's pretty good. Well done to you then, Richard. So if he doesn't see this, I'll make sure I'll message him and let him know. So he has actually won. So if someone else wants to obviously let him know he has won, feel free. But you've got his email address, don't you, Ronnie? So you'll be able to get in contact with him and arrange posting it out and so forth. So going forward, if anyone does have any more questions for Ronnie and you are watching this show after it's been live, obviously make sure you comment in the chat afterwards and I'll make sure Ronnie gets your questions and I'll reply if possible. Otherwise, you can get him on, let me get his details back up on screen again. Here we go. You can email him right here. Ronnie.b at Deepcool, Ronnie.b at deepcool.com. And then you've also got his Skype or live name there as well, so you can easily get hold of him if you need to. Right, guys, I think that's pretty much the end of the show. I think Facebook messed up the end of it anyway, but not to worry. It's Facebook for you, or Meta Group, or whatever you want to call it these days. So, any last thoughts before I end it?
Yeah, I mean, I just want to say a big thank you again. This was, I think I was a little bit nervous to begin with, but also quite excited. I'll go back to the 50% nervous and 300% excited. But yeah, this was really fun. really glad that you had me on. Yeah, it was totally fun to speak to you and speak to everyone in the chat as well. And Cory, thanks again for being here to support me as well. So huge thanks to everyone that joined and listened out. And congrats to the winner.
Yes, well done, Richard. What about yourself, Cory? Any last minute?
No, just the same. It's great to see so many people that we already deal with, a couple that we don't. It's nice to see that people are so interested in some of the new stuff that we do. I'm here because as with you, Phil, we've been dealing with Roni for so long. And if I didn't believe in this product, if Target didn't believe in this product, we wouldn't be bringing it in, and we wouldn't have arranged all this to introduce it. This is the first time we've done this, and this is because we truly believe this is a good quality product. I think personally, I think Roni's a little bit underselling it. I would definitely put this straight up against NZXT and Cooler Master for quality of build anytime.
Oh yeah, we're going after Cooler Master, and quality-wise, I do believe we're right up there as well. It's the brand perception and brand name is the one that's quite difficult to break into. Also, we've not been doing this for too long. Come on, you're making me feel old.
So right, well, you definitely need to send me some stuff what's competing against the big end Cooler Master stuff. You know I like my big Cooler Master half type cases and so forth, so you're going to have to send me what the equivalent over, and I'll have a look at it and I'll let you know. And to be honest with you, one or two of the Cooler Master things in the past few years have been a little bit
Actually,
falling apart when you pick it up, shall we say?
The air cooler that you guys have got in stock, so the AK620, that's probably the most interesting one, because as much as it might be like mid-tier ASB, but it's trading blows with Noctua, so that's a big win. The D15, for example, it's like I think 20 or 30 pounds more expensive than what we have, and we're able to keep up with it. So yeah, you'll definitely be able to. That's definitely coming to you, Phil. So you're gonna have to be prepared to do a review or something like that on it. And I'm sure when Cory gets his hands on it, he'll be able to put it through its paces as well.
Yeah, definitely. Look forward to actually getting the stuff and testing it. We're just setting up loads of new testing systems, obviously, with the new 12 Gen stuff and everything. So obviously we've got the older systems as well, so we can test low end and extreme high end stuff as well now. So that's pretty good. So right, if you haven't figured out already now, you need to start saving your money up and buy some Deepcool products at the end of the month when Target gets them in. Okay, so it's going to come in roughly the 25th of November, fingers crossed, if that's right.
Yep.
So a month before Christmas. So that's a good way of remembering it. If you're still not sure about the brand, all I'm going to say is, from all the account managers I've had over the years, I'd say, when I say account managers, as in account managers at vendors or marketing managers or whatever you want to call them, Roni has been the best one I've ever dealt with. Okay, not to make him blush or anything at the moment. He's been out to our store numerous times. We're not the biggest store. I've never claimed to be. Okay, we've won a few things, but we've never been the biggest store in the world. We're a bit of a TARDIS, if anything. But he was willing to come out, sort us out with some samples and different things, and he was also the first person to jump in there and really help us kickstart Tech for Techs. So if you want to support anyone, I'd go for Roni and Deepcool, to be honest with you, because I'm trusting that Deepcool will be a pretty cool brand, to be honest with you, to stock in your store, or obviously if you're a system integrator or whatever you're going to be doing. They sound like a pretty good brand. Right, before I embarrass him anymore, we're going to call the show there. So I'd just like to say, first of all, thank you, Roni, for joining us tonight. It's been a pleasure having you on, and good to catch up with you since you've been at Deepcool. And thank you again, Cory, for joining us. And no doubt you'll be on the show in the future with a few other of your tools and different services and stuff, no doubt. So we'll see you then. But otherwise, thank you everyone for watching. So it's been a busy, well, it was quite a few people watching from what I could see, until obviously Facebook messed up, but that's another story. But I would like to say thank you for the ones who are still watching. If you are not a Tech for Tech member, feel free to click the link I'm going to put up on screen in a second when it allows me. That will allow you to join Tech for Techs. It's totally free for you to join. It doesn't cost you a penny. It's free, as in zero, no membership, anything like that. You'll join the tech community of other people. For example, Target Components is in there. If Deepcool aren't in there, there will be soon because I'll be pushing them one way or another. There are lots of other vendors as well as distributors in there as well. And more importantly, other techs just like you who've got repair shops, that MSPs that either work at home. Don't really care if you make £100 a week or £1 million a week. We basically want everyone to work together as a whole. So again, if you want to join over 1,300 people just like you, click that. Well, you can't click on it, but type that link in your browser, what's on the screen, and it will take you there. And when you do get there and press join, make sure you fill in the questions, because if you don't fill in the questions, we won't know who you are and we won't let you in the group. It's as simple as that. So thank you everyone for watching. Thank you for listening to me going blah 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 for the last 2 minutes, and we'll see you next Thursday, which we have got a special show at 8 p.m. and it's to do with mental health. We'll actually have a doctor on the show who will be talking about stresses and everything like that, mental health, what everyone's been going through probably over the last year or even longer, regarding obviously COVID, running a store, and even in general. So make sure you tune in. That's Thursday at 8 p.m. So good night, everyone, and we'll see you next week.